right, so moving on to our third category, we're abandoning the world of movies and TV shows for a little while to talk about our favorite games that we played this year. I have a few favorites that I played that came out this year because I'm usually, as you know, I'm late to the party with these kind of things. I played Cyberpunk 2077 for the first time this year, and it was one of my favorite gaming experiences of all time. It doesn't really count as a game that came out this year, of course, but I did play some recent games and I would like to talk about them briefly. But first, what were your favorite gaming experiences of the year, if any?
Yeah, I feel like I might potentially know a couple of yours for this category. I've already discussed one on the channel before, which was Ready or Not, which was a real, came out of nowhere. I think I know it had been out on PC for a while before that, and it came to consoles in 2025. And I just saw some scenes from it or some clips of people role-playing whilst they're playing it, and I was like, oh, this looks kind of fun, and jumped into it, not really having much expectation of it at all, and I just loved it. Not necessarily so much the gameplay, but there was some good storytelling in it, and it was interesting and really pushed the boundaries in ways that you don't see that much in games or general media at the moment. Yeah, this one was a real surprise of how much I enjoyed this one. It does have a very limited shelf life, I'd say. You can play online and you can redo the missions again and do them in different ways, but there's only a set 15 different locations you go to do the missions or something like that. Once I'd played all of the locations, I haven't really picked it up again and played it, but as long as I played it, it was really enjoyable and it was a proper surprise. So yeah, Ready or Not is one of my favorite games of the year.
Nice. Yeah, I remember you talking glowingly about it, and you almost made me pick it up, almost, because time is limited and I was way too busy at the time playing Hollow Knight Silksong, which is another game that we talked about on the channel, which is definitely on my list of best gaming experiences I've had this year. It's just a joy to experience. It's a huge game made by passionate people, and if you like platformers, if you like a Metroidvania style world to explore and unlock as you find new abilities and build your character and really personalize the way you play, it's a really satisfying, if a bit fucking just this game is difficult as hell, and it's mean to you. But it's a really fun experience. It just it keeps killing you in this insane, just here's a save point. No, actually it's a trap and it's going to kill you, and it's sent back all the way to a half an hour ago to a different area of the map. And it's that kind of game that you kind of need to understand the kind of experience that it wants to give you. It can be frustrating, it can be a bit much at point.
But then games like that can be so rewarding as well, especially after it's been killing you over and over again, and you finally get to that next point. You reap the rewards so much more.
I like the satisfaction that I felt beating some of the bosses in this game is the kind of rush that I'm chasing anytime I play a video game. Even though the final secret boss, when I beat them, avoiding spoilers, when I beat them, I felt relief rather than satisfaction, that I was done. Because I had to replay that fight, I don't know, probably 100 times before I got it. So not for everyone, definitely, but definitely for me, and a really fun experience. Another game, unless you want to go first with another one of yours.
Yeah, I suppose just because I've got one which kind of apes off a little bit of what you were saying about Silksong. You're talking about how games can be frustrating and really hard and really punishing to the player, and how that can in itself is quite an enjoyable aspect of the game. For me, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was very much within...
You've played that?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, there's it's probably a shame that it came out so early last year, because I feel like people aren't kind of giving it its due credit, because...
Yeah, even at the Game Awards.
Yeah, it was completely snubbed, and I think it's unfair, because it's such a good role-playing game. In terms of all the choices you make can change everything. You can ruin whole quest lines, main quest lines, by doing certain things just in the free roam.
Yeah.
There was a moment in this game that I've never experienced anything like this. this. And it was so annoying and frustrating. But oh my God, like after I'd like gone through this whole like turmoil, I was like, that was actually fucking crazy. I felt like that was almost like real experience I just had. There was like this like crew of soldiers who I went on like you meet them, and I went on a side quest with these like crew of soldiers, and I think they were like part of the enemy, but they didn't quite know who I was at this point. And you like go out drinking with them, and it was like the first time I'd got drunk in the game, and like we got really drunk, and then they left me in this like dark woods. And when you're drunk in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, like your vision is fucked. Like everything is so blurry to the point you can't see, and you only can sober up when you go back to your house and sleep. And
Nice.
but I was dropped off in these woods.
Very realistic.
And no joke, I was wandering around these woods for probably an hour or two in real time, and like it was making me sick and nauseous because of all the screen distortion and motion blur. And I was like, genuinely, like, once I get back to my bed and rest and I'm sober, I'm gonna go and find these fucking guys and exact my revenge on them. And I went and I just spent like so many hours then like trying to kill these guys without getting caught, because if you get caught killing, it's like can ruin the whole game almost. And just like the revenge I put on these soldiers was such a like that was an own little story within itself that I'd like created in the game. And it's things like that, like little moments like that, which I thought really separated like KCD2 from like other role-playing games of that ilk. And I thought it was great.
Yeah, I've only heard good things. It's a very involved, really deep RPG, so it's on my list, but I need to find the time to really get into it. I feel like it's kind of like The Witcher 3, maybe even more kind of like involved in terms of like stories and like decisions you can make.
Yeah. It's like the most, I'm sure there's more out there, but for me, it's like the most consequential like role-playing game that I've ever played anyway.
Yeah, I definitely want to check it out soon. And I love like how these kind of games allow for these moments of gameplay that are unique to you, right? Like the one you described, you created that moment for yourself, and the way you reacted and the way you felt as you were experiencing that moment of gameplay is yours and yours alone. It's the probably similar experience with other players, but that's the beauty of this type of game.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, another game that I really loved that I still have to finish is Hades 2.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I haven't played, but
yeah, Hades was a really great surprise for me. I am not usually into this type of game, roguelikes, where you start a run and when you die you go back to the beginning and you have to do it all over again, all the bosses of the rooms. But every time you unlock new abilities and you make yourself stronger and more prepared for what's to come. And Hades 2 is just like ridiculously expansive, like Hades 1 on steroids. You are this character and you need to either descend into the depths of Hades or ascend to Olympus, and either way you go, you have the help of all these deities from Greek mythology, and the way these characters are rendered and explored in a very unique way, and the storyline is so fresh and fun. Like there's this fight that you do at some point, it's early on in the game, it's not a huge spoiler, but basically you run into this siren, Scylla, and in mythology sirens are known to be, singers, and she's actually like kind of like a pop star, and she sings her song with her bandmates in the fight. And as you take off like the guitarist and the drummer, those instruments are taken out of the track that you're listening to while you're playing.
Oh,
like
that's cool.
So, it's just that there's so many little details like this that make it so immersive and so much fun. And each run is different. Each run you like the way you build your weapon, and you have so many different weapons to choose from, and each weapon can become wildly different based on the power-ups that you unlock and that you find along the way, which are randomized. So like literally it's the perfect game where you're like, you have half an hour to game and you can just boot it up, you play for a half an hour, it's a really entertaining half hour, and then you're done and you can move on with your day. So I highly recommend that. It's really fun.
And that was one of the game of the years, I think, for the year that it came out, Hades 1.
Yeah,
so I mean I've only got one more left, and this is my winner, and it came in late and like stole the show. It came out in October. I didn't jump on it actually until like December time, so I was a bit like late to the party, and I
Perfect time for gaming. Love
Yeah.
December.
And I was flooded with clips and, all these like street gaming streamers who have been playing this game and all the different ways that you can play it and like the crazy situations that happen. And some people are like, he was saying that it's like, this is a social experiment. This isn't a game. And it honestly really can be like that sometimes. And it's Arc Raiders.
Okay, yeah, I was guessing it right then.
Yeah. I didn't quite like gel with it at first because I was just like, I could see this getting really boring. You jump in either in like a duo or trios, or you can do it solo online, and you're fighting like robotic enemies on the surface of this world it's like post-apocalyptic, and you have 30 odd minutes on the surface before like a nuke basically comes and blasts you. So that's like the game, and then you safely return home is the objective.
Yeah.
But you go and you loot stuff, and you can either fight enemies or you can also do PvP, so you can fight other players who are in their trios or solos or whatever. And so it's kind of up to you how you play it. And at first it didn't quite like gel with me, but then as I got more into it, I was just like finding myself in these situations, these funny situations. It also has a option for like a voice changer on it, for proximity chat. So like I can be playing with my mates and they hear me like you hear me now, but then when we encounter like another team and I press like your proximity chat, they'll hear me as like a little girl. and so many people like role play when you're in there, and you'll like walk into a building and you just hear this like little girl's voice being like, help, and you're like, what is going on? And most of the time it'll be like some trap that you're walking into. It'll be like, help, I'm almost dead, could somebody give me this thing? And then you go in and there's fucking mines everywhere and somebody set all these traps and they fucking kill you and steal all your shit. And
yeah, that's why I don't play these games, because it would crush me.
And if you lose your stuff, you lose it for good. And then you can come back in with a free loadout. If you find some like really good guns and you come in with your good guns and people steal it really gets you like to your core. There's been a couple times when I've betrayed people or people have betrayed me, and it is like, it feels like somebody's like really like slighted me in real life, and I'm like, oh my god. And there's been a couple times where there's been like an opportune moment where someone's got their back to you and they've got some good shit, and it's like, I'm gonna kill this guy, and then you kill them and you feel so bad, and they'll be begging for their life when to revive them. They'll be like, please revive me, in this like little kid's voice. You're like, I feel so guilty for what I've just done to this guy. Yeah, it's a really weird experience. It's an interesting game, and it's I know it's like one of the biggest games at the moment, and people are absolutely loving it. And yeah, some of the clips I'm seeing online are hilarious from some of the gameplay.
Yeah, everyone is saying it's good, and I have a friend that actually is kind of like roping me into playing it, so I might have to give it a try.
Yeah, give it a try, man. I got it for like 25 quid, and it is so worth that. This is way better than like a AAA 40 quid, $40, $50 game or whatever they are now.
I mean, that was kind of like what we learned from 2025. Like all the best games were indie developed.
Yeah,
or
for
just
sure,
like,
for sure.
Double A. So yeah.
So yeah, that's my favorite game of the year. It's so much fun to play, and it's so funny.
Yeah, I will check it out. I still have to talk about my pick for best game of the year. I just want to give a quick mention to a honorable mention.
A horrible mention.
A horrible mention. No, I want to mention Split Fiction.
Okay, yeah. I've been meaning to play it because I really like It Takes Two. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, it's more of that, more bombastic, more over the top, crazier scenarios. I think I still like It Takes Two a little bit more, just because of like how tight and like perfectly paced it was. I feel like Split Fiction is maybe a bit too long. I played it with my girlfriend. It's like this cooperative multiplayer only game, and it's just so inventive, man. It's so fun. Every new chapter you unlock different powers and different ways to interact with the world. It's so full of stuff, like stuff that you would say they could make a whole game just out of like this gameplay loop, and they just use it for a couple hours and then you move on to the next thing, and it's just as well made and refined and fun to play. It's incredible. Yeah, what they achieved with this, and I'm so glad that this kind of cooperative games are having a comeback, and it, it's so customer friendly. You can play cross-platform. You just need one game and then you can send a link to another person and play with them online.
Yeah, that's wild. Like, that is just like unheard of, that kind of like generosity in the gaming world.
Bang for your buck. It's so good, so much fun. Also infuriating to play with another person, especially if they're not video game savvy people.
Yeah.
But also very memorable.
Yeah. But they've like really tapped into that, and it's probably just purely that couch co-op aspect of it, but they've really tapped into like making a video game accessible for people who don't necessarily play video games.
Yeah.
Because I played It Takes Two with this like girl that I was dating back then when it came out, and she absolutely loved it. And like she never played games before,
Yeah.
and like we had such a good time playing it. But oh my god, like she was terrible and it was stifling our progress constantly. But it was funny.
The final boss for her was the camera. I'm guessing.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, that's so true. Especially when you're jumping, like doing like proper platforming stuff, and it's just like her camera's spinning all around. And I was like, what don't you get about this?
Yeah, it's it's strange for people who have gamed their whole lives like me to figure out that like these things are not obvious and they're not like
Yeah.
immediately easy to do for people who haven't really played a game before or they haven't played that much. But my best game of the year, and I debated if this was Silksong, but like this award for me needs to go, and I know it also won game of the year. It has to go to Clear Obscure Expedition 33.
Well, I'm glad you played it because it's on Game Pass, so like I don't know why I haven't like jumped into it. I've got it downloaded like on my library, and I just haven't jumped into it yet. But I assume that I would really enjoy it, and yeah, I'm glad you played it so you can sort of give our thoughts on it because it is blowing everything out of the water in terms of like Game of the Year from last year. It's crazy.
It came out like last summer, and I only played it recently too, and I felt like it could not hold up to the level of praise that I've heard about this game. And it actually kind of surpassed it, like my expectations for it.
Wow, that is impressive.
I don't know how it's possible that a studio, this is their first game, and this is what they make. I feel like you're not much into JRPG, kind of like turn-based combat style video games.
I like turn-based. JRPG probably not so much, but like I mean I actually only really like I played like my first like turn-based game like not that long ago. It was like one of the XCOM games like maybe a couple years ago, and I was like fucking hell, like why have I been putting this off? Like I absolutely loved it. And obviously you've got the South Park games which are turn-based combat.
Yeah, well, I mean that's a good frame of reference.
Yeah. And so I was like, no, that definitely wasn't an aspect of it that put me off, and it's like I said, it's definitely something I will play for sure.
The reason why I'm saying this is because I have also been trying to convince everyone I know to play this, and people are like, oh, I don't like Final Fantasy or like turn-based combat, it's boring to me. And I'm like, no, you're wrong. I mean, you're wrong anyway, because turn-based combat can be really fun and strategic and rewarding, but in this case we're talking about a very unique combat system that is both turn-based but also very reactive, in the sense that you need to push the right button at the right time for your attack to deal the most damage, and you need to parry or dodge at the right time to avoid or counterattack the attack of the adversary. So it's a very cool reinvention of the Final Fantasy, because it's very Final Fantasy in the way, like the world is laid out and how you kind of like access different areas on the map and you explore them and you fight monsters and then you reach a boss. But the way they do it is so refreshing and so cool, and just like everyone is talking about the story, man, but it's really, really cool. I don't know how I managed to not get spoiled about some of the stuff that happens in this game.
Oh yeah, kind of the same. I don't really know. I know people are like revering the story, but I know nothing about it, to be honest, so which is good.
It's one of the stories that I feel like I want to play it again as soon as I'm done with like the side stuff, because now that I have like the full context, I feel like so much of it will be so much more rewarding and engaging. But like the first time around, you're just experiencing this world that they've created, and for people who don't know, it's like a dark fantasy kind of like Belle Epoque French setting.
Yeah.
This world in ruin that was destroyed years and years ago by this event called the Fracture, and now there's this Titaness, this huge being called the Paintress, who each year wakes up and paints a new number on this monolith. And as she paints this number, the people of that age, they disappear. They gommage, it's called.
Ah, okay. Interesting, yeah.
And so each year there's a new expedition into the continent to reach the Paintress and stop her and try to kill her. Expedition 33 is actually the 68th expedition, because the whole fracture and like painting of the numbers started with the number 100. We're now on number 33. You can imagine how many people were banished.
Yeah.
You experience this world and you explore this world that was explored before you by all these different expeditions, and the way they managed to explain some of the stuff in the gameplay through story is so elegant and so well thought out. Like, for example, just a thing that I loved, you know, like when in games you get to this cliff and you need to climb the cliff, right? And usually there's like either yellow paint or like some very obvious hooks that you can use to climb, and it's never explained how they got there.
Yeah.
But here there's these hooks on the cliff because they were put there by previous expeditions that were exploring the continent before you.
Yeah.
And you find all these different journals that kind of like reveal more of the story and more of what happened. And it's so well thought. It feels like going back to what we talked about, right? About the Duffer Brothers not really knowing what to do with Stranger Things, something that they've created, or Tron Ares, and all these big blockbuster movies that seem to be uninterested in creating deep lore and exploring it in satisfying ways. You know, like Star Wars is a huge example. They had this incredible lore and then they go and do a remake of the first movie. Here you can see and feel the care in the story and the characters, and it's so unique. I don't know, man, like I was in awe at some of the stuff that they managed to make, again, because this is the first game for many of these people. It's a very small studio for what they achieved. Like, this is a huge game with so much content and a very, very unique story that keeps surprising you, and you're like, whenever you think, okay, I figured it out, you didn't figure it out. So yeah, it's I think this is very special, and it's my game of the year.
Yeah, nice. I'm 100% gonna play it at some point. I've got to, and glad. It sounds super interesting story-wise, so
It is.
I'm excited to play that one.
All right.